Also, his son is there. They all serve there. Nobody's hiding behind anyone. They all know that it's their duty. So this is a short preamble. Maybe not too short, but pardon if I took a little too much time. But so you have received the press releases. You know how many soldiers in the military of Navy were awarded. 69 as of now. 69 were awarded with state awards. 531 received the prize from Ministry of Defense. 83 of the Navy were promoted. And I'm ready to promote or award every one of them. It's very difficult to overestimate what they're doing right now. So that's what I wanted to say shortly in my preamble. I'm ready to answer the questions. Thank you, Yuri, for a thorough, bringing thorough examples. Okay, please state yourselves. The media should ask their questions in the microphone. Yes, yesterday there was an engagement near Shakhtarsk town. I cannot give you the details now. The commander of the unit was bringing his unit out of the town of the Shakhtarsk, full of civilians, and they were ambushed. There was a fight. As results of that fight, we suffered great losses. 10 soldiers died in that engagement. "13 wounded. And 11 disappeared, and these are the results. Currently, the unit is moved out of the shellfire zone. They are in the basic camp. Right now, everybody's evacuated. The wounded and the dead are evacuated. Okay, there was no such wording, untrustworthy. Again, I spent so much time. Whose words are you saying? Those words of the Navy. There was no such wording, untrustworthy. Nobody told them that they were cowards or traitors. According to the law, according to the routine, they were routinely moved to another unit. And the day before yesterday and today, there was a number of soldiers moving to that unit, and on the 3rd of August they will be in the zone of ATO. Using the example of Captain Gerasimenko, who was appointed to lead the battalion, I'm telling you, in some situation, somebody showed that he cannot fulfill this task as part of this unit. And that's why the commander of brigade decided, and the general staff approved that decision, and it's now enforced. Everything is within the law. Nobody lost any fees or due payment, and all the military will continue to be engaged in the operation. Let me add something. It's just an analogy. When your chief editor calls you or the channel producer, he says, "I see you have very good coverage. I'll promote you from the newsroom to entertainment or the documentary." You say, "Okay, I agree with this and this option," and he's telling, "You have to be trained this and that, so complete some courses and you'll be one of the best. You will pass your experience." Yeah. Just yesterday I met one of those officers, the captain. And he was in my room. He went for an interview. He said, you know what he said? He said, "If I were a commander, I wouldn't do the same." What happened, I say? He said, "I was given a task. I turned up the vehicles. I nearly killed the people." And this is the officers telling me. "If I were a commander, I would do the same. I would have done the same," he said. Please be careful in what you're saying. I stress again, the Navy that returned from capture, I don't know what you're talking about. What Navy that were captured and then returned? There were soldiers of the Brigade 51, but they are not the Mobile Navy. Okay, next question. Mechanism of promotion of active military soldiers. Yeah, maybe it's good. Thank you for this question. Maybe it's good that we cover that on TV so that everyone understands what we're talking about. Everything is very transparent and very clear for the military. There are no double standards or manipulation. There is no way for improper conduct. So all those units that are in the ATO are there according to their military orders. It's a document. It's a confidential, classified document which is stored for many years, and this document says that this particular unit number, this and that, has to be moved to this and that zone, where from this time to that time they were under the command of certain officer. From that moment on, the unit is officially engaged in the ATO. Based on this military order, the unit commander issues the order where approximately the same wording, but he then appoints this unit and this list of the military with their names, with their identification number. This document, of course, is also classified. And from that moment on, when the soldier is there, he is officially the participant of ATO. And he has privileges. There is no law that says that there is a law that says if the military, a soldier or any post spends a day or longer in the zone of ATO, is automatically awarded privileges. And what that mother was saying, that the privileges were cancelled, this is absurd. Okay, now that we see civil organizations of soldiers' mothers and doing press conferences all over the country, and when we talk to each one of them, of those women, it turns out that none of them has any relations to the soldiers or the military who are serving in the ATO zone, and they are not actual mothers. So the question is, why do they call themselves soldiers' mothers, and what are they trying to do? What kind of message they're trying to send to the society? Okay, STB TV channel, could you comment on the situation that what's happening in the Air Mobile Brigade 72 and 79? Okay, pardon me. 72 is not the highly mobile Navy Brigade. 79 is. Okay, what's the situation there? They are right now on the task in certain regions. Usually we hear questions about 72 and 79 brigades. The situation is difficult. Very difficult. Why is it very difficult? And this is a lesson that we have learned. So I'm going to speak for myself. We were not expecting that our units would be shot with artillery from the side, from behind the Russian border, and they are the hypocrisy of the Russia saying that they're not doing this, when there's a constant shell fire from the side of behind the Russian border with Grad artillery, with 152 millimeter cannons, and our military are standing their ground and doing everything possible. I cannot give you the details right now why those military units are there and what is their task exactly, but I know that currently the two units have been moved to a safe zone out of the Brigade 79. Certain units remain there. And they are all the time under shell fire from the separatists and from the other side of the Russian border. It's clear that the command staff of the ATO is taking measures to stabilize the situation in that region. It's very difficult right now for me to comment on that situation without giving you some details, but unfortunately I just cannot disclose right now. Currently the Brigade 79 has no losses. Okay, let me add something. The examples of hypocrisy. When these terrorist groups from the Russian side is issuing orders, and we've seen proof of that, to shell fire the empty spaces and giving grounds to the Russian military to fight back. So this is a provocation. Our military know that, and they don't play by their rules. They stand their ground, strictly following their procedure. $15 of food supplies. So let me tell all of you, when we're at war, when there are active engagements, it's not possible to do everything according to the book, wearing white gloves. It just doesn't happen. It's reality. And when women were saying that the soldiers were not even supplied with water and food, it's true, sadly. But the newly dispatched caravan with water and food passed already. It's there. So we tried various ways. We dropped supplies from the airborne, drinkable water, foodstuffs from aircraft N-26 on great height, until we figured out that the so-called rebels, armed with modern weaponry and capable of hitting our planes on height of 6,200 meters, the aircraft that is carrying food supplies, and as you remember, the aircraft like that was hit just before the tragic Boeing, and Colonel Litvinov, Sergei Litvinov, who was accompanying that cargo, he catapulted together with the crew, and as you know, everything which is higher than 4 or 5 kilometers, it's unbreathable, and they were wearing oxygen masks, and they unfortunately were captured. They are captured by the enemy, and right now, together with the units are now supplied with water and food. But okay, how many wounded are there? Yesterday, the volunteers who couldn't get there yesterday reported that there are many wounded. And why volunteers succeed bringing food and water there, but the military cannot bring the supplies? I will tell you more. The wounded are evacuated from those units, evacuated through the territory of Russian Federation. And there are two border points. One takes them in the the territory of Russian Federation. Another takes them out. So the wounded are evacuated. I share the pain and the tears of the mothers of our soldiers, and I receive hundreds of phone calls. And despite the great shortage of time, I still try to talk to them. There are various situations, of course. Some of them listen to what I say. Some of them just send me curses. Others blame me and things they don't understand. There are complicated cases. Some of them plead to let their husband or their son let them home. She's alone. She has 2 kids. And her parents are not walking. They are elderly. And it's miserable. And she says, I understand you need him there. He is a driver of the BTR. I understand that without him, all your regiment is without the military vehicle, but I don't know how to live anymore. And after that, your heart breaks. You hear that and just, it breaks your heart. And you gotta at least respect those people. They are the true heroes and true patriots. So and on the other hand, there are those who would call you and tell you, just give me my back and let anyone else go and fight instead. And these women, they wrote a letter to the president that they want reinforcement. They want not to take someone back, but they want to reinforce them. Yeah, it's not a secret. You all watch TV. You know that the president has signed an order, and the parliament approved that. So the third order of mobilization, partial mobilization. It's not a secret. It was all over the media recently, so of course the reinforcements will come. We are rotating the military. We give the people the opportunity to regroup, to restore their moral and psychological powers. Yeah, we're recruiting the military who have military experience in the Peaceful Corps, and those we give preference to those cadre who have experience, military experience, and there are enough of them who are voluntarily reporting for duty, and those who were serving under the first wave, and we know the age that we need. But earlier, the age limit did not allow them to be recruited. Now it does allow them on the third wave. In order to successfully fulfill the military duty, the military has to be 90% staffed. To what percent are they staffed now? Yeah, you didn't. It's not. They are now staffed 100%, and it's not only about successful fulfillment of the task. In order to be able to respond immediately to the military task, we need, in the peaceful time, not in the military time, but in a peaceful time, we have to have our army staffed 95 or 99%, not to rapidly find forces when the tragedy strikes. They have to be trained, they have to be drilled, and only then they can be released into the duty. And when we have, in the peaceful time, the army which is so ready and so trained, this is what we're talking about. We need this kind of situation. I know there are all kinds of rumors. My officers, they report to me that the Russians say that we are they are spreading rumors that they are killing off the navy, the Ukrainian navy, and they hope that there will be no more navy in Ukraine. I want to send the message that they are far from killing off navy in Ukraine. They are creating the navy in Ukraine. Be it a little more cynical to say like that, but those commanders, those commanders that are at war with the Russians, those commanders are the future elite of Ukrainian army. Those are the commanders who are the backbone of our army, and we will add muscle to this backbone, and the army that we will have is going to be highly ready, highly trained. We are already proving that. We have regrouped and recreated our navy in such a short time, and we're sending the modern supplies, the anti-tank missiles, Stug, and more powerful weaponry to defend our country, and we're planning to equip them with the new BTR military vehicles. So my point is, the Russians are mistaken when they think, okay, the last question, People's Army, Roman Narkonko, in the follow-up of what you were saying, how about staffing the Navy with reserve? Is that a valid option? Yeah, the reserve, we don't have so much of a reserve for the Navy, despite the fact that the reserve really does their job well within a certain scope of duties. My vision is that for the rapid response forces, we don't need a reserve. We need everyone in the staff. No less than 90%. Okay, thank you, Yuri, for finding the time. So, 2nd of August, we have to I just want to take this opportunity to say a word of greeting. On the eve of this celebration, which is for our Navy, is the sacred day. We haven't always celebrated it, sadly. And even more sadly, that this year the celebration is on the background of huge losses, of the losses that we suffered. I will not say any big pathetic words, but I will just wish our soldiers, our officers, our men to come back alive, successfully fulfill their duty, and continue living a fruitful, prosperous life in the peaceful but strong Ukraine. So let everyone be safe and sound and return with victory. Thank you, colleagues, and thank you for your coverage.